Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Andreas Prohl, who's going to lead us in meditation. Then we have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we'll end at 10:45. Over to you, Andreas.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining and stepping into this occasion to realign your mind with God's mind. And today I would like to offer the topic of true empathy, as the Course points it out. And there's a few little things I want to read, and let's say something like a prayer or a reminder for yourself to step aside and to let true empathy, as the Holy Spirit understands it, be shown to you. And before, as Jesus does it, before he offers the solution, he points out the erroneous thinking of the ego, or how the ego tries to use empathy to basically strengthen itself, but to weaken you. So there's a little exploration about that before we go into the meditation. And that's from chapter 16, paragraph 1, section 1, 2, 3. And here it says, to empathize does not mean to join in suffering, for that is what you must refuse to understand. That is the ego's interpretation of empathy, and is always used to form a special relationship in which the suffering is shared. So the clearest proof that empathy, as the ego uses it, is destructive lies in the fact that it is applied only to certain types of problems and in certain people. These it selects out and joins with, and it never joins except to strengthen itself. Having identified with what it thinks it understands, the ego sees itself and would increase itself by sharing what is like itself. Make no mistake about this maneuver. The ego always empathizes to weaken, and to weaken is always to attack. Your part is only to remember this. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. You choose neither to hurt it nor to heal it in your own way. You do not know what healing is. You do not know what healing is. All you have learned of empathy is from the past. And there is nothing from the past that you would share, for there is nothing from the past that you would keep. Do not use empathy to make the past real and so perpetuate it. Step gently aside and let healing be done for you. Keep but one thought in mind and do not lose sight of it, however tempted you may be to judge any situation and to determine your response by judging it. And here it comes. Focus your mind only on this. And this is the lead up for the meditation. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And I would not intrude the past upon my guest, the Holy Spirit. I have invited him, and he is here. I need do nothing except not to interfere. I need do nothing except not to interfere. I'm going to share this in the chat so you can refocus your mind whenever you find yourself drifting off. And now we can start our 20 minutes meditation. Thank you so much.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 20 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off of mute. If you'd like to ask Andreas a question or comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Who'd like to share? Jim.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Andreas, for bringing this to the meeting today, because it's very relevant for me. This real empathy. I have a dear friend who has had a history of arthritis. And at the moment, she's also got a swollen Achilles tendon. And this morning, before the meeting, it occurred to me to give her a ring. And I could see the rescuer in me coming up, this idea of rescuer and rescued. And of course, what this lesson tells us, or what this part of the course tells us, is that there's nobody to be rescued, and there's no need for a rescuer. And the need is to connect with her at the level of the feeling that is beyond her body. Because this rescuer comes from the idea that she is a body. And all the information about her body comes from the past. So by not bringing in the past, I could connect with her at that level of feeling, which is beyond the body. Now, that may, of course, include practical help, but not from a rescuer, simply a free giving of practical help. Because the concern was that at the moment, if it needs an operation, it's going to take ages to get it done with the way the National Health Service is. So many COVID patients. So she's going to have to wait ages for an operation if she needs one. So I can come in and help her with that. Yeah, it was very helpful to have that part of the course because it's so important to connect with everybody, not everybody that we come across at that level of feeling that has nothing to do with the body. And so thank you for bringing that.
Thank you for sharing, James. One thing that came repeatedly into my mind during the meditation was, don't bring anything that you believe you understand. Don't bring anything from the past. And it always, emphasizes, okay, come to the blank, what's it called in English, the blank slate? The place where you don't have any interpretation, you don't know what to do with it. You just dedicated to receive and determined to receive, and be okay with it, not to understand how this works and not to interfere. I find this again and again such a powerful commitment in this moment and for our relationships, that this is always the thing that doesn't seem to do anything, that seems like nothing, but has the greatest impact. This is where the Holy Spirit comes in, and I'm taking my hands off analyzing or judging the situation.
Yeah, would you say that it's the mind that often dictates how we feel? We think of something and we connect with something that is related to the body and with ourselves as well. So with self-empathy, we can also, get very much in touch with what we're feeling at a bodily level or even at a mental level. But real self-empathy, I would suggest, is that which is connecting with who we truly are, to feel who I truly am if I'm going through a difficult period. Is that how you would understand it?
Absolutely. And, this is so existential because, it completely undoes what I believe I am. It's not like Andreas is being open to guidance or something, but the idea of Andreas is being questioned. That's highly uncomfortable for a certain period of time. Can be shorter or can be longer. But this is where Jesus comes in and says, yep, you are actually afraid of the light that you are. The closer you come, the more fearful you are. And yet you will, advance in remembering who you are as God created you. But this is the mechanics of the conditioning of our past lessons that we come across, that we actually don't want it. On the surface level, we don't want it because it seems to existentially threaten us. And in this meditation that we just shared, he's opening up as, don't bring anything that you seem to understand, and just be open and see what it does. It won't help in the way that I believe will be helpful. And as you said, James, it's not refusing practical help, when it's necessary. Of course, we're here for service, extending our hands and reaching out and accepting that there's a different guidance that we're following, not our own one.
Thank you.
I thank you.
Who'd like to share? John, take yourself off mute.
Hi. Thank you, Andreas. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Andreas. That was absolutely perfect for me. And it's so true. And the words that really jumped out at me was right at the end when you said this, and do not interfere. And what came to me in meditation was a lesson which I was given by, I had a shamanic teacher when I first started this journey, called Dawn Eagle Woman. And at the time I was carrying a lot of guilt about, how I'd left my children when I left their mother and all this stuff and what they were going through and everything else. And she said one thing which came into my mind, and she said, John, your children will demand the right to their pain, and don't you ever dare try and interfere with it. And of course, I was very early in my learning then, and I thought, oh, shit. And of course, the Course does remind us that everything the world has taught us is absolutely upside down, the opposite to the truth. So, but then, of course, experience showed me how right she was. So what I learned to do, and it took me a long time, lots of mistakes I made, but then I got into the habit of never trying to do anything for them unless they asked me. So not giving them any advice unless they asked me. And then that was the turning point in my relationship with them all. Because when I suddenly noticed that when I gave advice and they hadn't asked for it, they always got angry. And that's when I realized the truth of what she had taught me. That the soul comes in, it has certain lessons to learn, and any attempt to counteract those lessons without invitation is going to rebound. So that was such a beautiful reminder that popped in, and the proof's in the pudding, because now I practice it all the time, and I have the most amazing relationship with every one of them, and they do come and ask for help. That's the only time I give it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that reminder. It's beautiful. I'll certainly look out for that in the text. Thank you.
Super. Thank you for sharing, John. And when Jesus says here, you don't want anything that comes from a relationship, you don't want anything you value to come of a relationship. And this can be also relating to myself, relating to how I know myself, how I believe I am. This is also a kind of relating, I relate back to a certain feeling of being alive, or a certain feeling of handling things, or being in the flow and things like that. And it just popped into my mind during the meditation that this is also a kind of relating to the past. And to go with that trust, to go with the present trust. Okay, I don't need to do anything with it. I don't want to interfere. I know the outcome of, relating to something that I know, to relating to the kids as I believe I see them, is the point where transformation actually happens, where my mind changes, my lessons are being unlearned. And this is so great to have places or gatherings like this where we can reflect ourselves. yes, it's good. The ego is upset when these lessons are being unlearned, and we're identified with it. So it's good to reflect each other and see, no, I'm not crazy. It's not, what would it be? It's not refusing just help, refusing the help that is necessary. It is, no, I'm here at this point, I'm standing still, I let my mind be transformed through him. And from that point, I can be truly helpful. But before that, I'm just repeating the past over and over, and I'm frustrated and depressed and everything. I don't know why, because I'm such a good person. I just want to help, but they don't want my help. But it's in my mind. It's isn't it great, that we have such a clear mirror with the Course in Miracles to actually see the conditioning, to see the program, and to say, oh my God, now I understand why I've been struggling, and I can make a new choice. Thank you. Thank you for bringing in the practical aspects of this.
Thank you.
Angela, would you like to share?
Thank you, Dan. Hi, Andreas. I'm really grateful too that you brought a reminder about true empathy. And I have observed myself really experiencing true empathy in many situations and with many people. And I struggle with that, though, with my children. And that's been mentioned, John, and I know James has mentioned his friend. I've a few people on here have heard me mention my daughter, who has had COVID twice. And the first time she was paralyzed for 3 months and took a long time to learn to walk. It's affected her brain. She can't drive, and she's had it again. And the booster that she's had has made her really ill again. She's got long COVID really badly. And I struggle to be, to have true empathy, because my mother's heart, human heart, is breaking really. And oh, I feel upset at the moment. We're going to see them directly after this meeting. And so I put my brave front on and, say and do all the right things as best I can. But in my mind, I'm not doing true empathy. And I want to, you were just mentioning about wanting to help as much as I can, more than I am, because she's not well enough for visitors really, although we're going to meet them outside. She's become understandably paranoid about anything because she's reacting so badly to all of it, and she doesn't want anybody in her house in case there's this Omicron variant comes and gets her, because she seems to be so terribly ill and she looks dreadful, and she's managing probably 10 or 15 minutes this morning just to give them the Christmas gifts, the children. Mm-hmm. She's got 3 young children, so it's very, very hard for her, and it's just so difficult to help. And we can't really help with the children very much because that's not their way. Her husband doesn't allow that. And Terry and I, we're both shielding anyway, so don't go out and about much, to see many people. So I'm in a bit of a pickle about this in my mind. So have you got a nutshell I can take with me to kind of sustain me through this?
You need a miracle.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the nutshell. Yeah, really, because it's like being in a place between a rock and a hard place. What do you do there? And this is what all the situations lead us to. Well, not maybe all, but we come to these points where, like, okay, there's nothing that I can do from my own understanding, and all it does is that I get more and more frustrated, and I see myself more and more helpless, basically. But the turning point really is this really God's will? How I experience myself, how I see myself? Is this open vision? Is this hope? Is this trust? Is this good? Is this guided? Does it feel open for me? Or does it feel more and more conflictual? So this is the only distinction that I have to make. And I see, okay, actually, if I'm truly honest with myself, I'm actually just maintaining a grievance. Maybe not against the people that are close to me, and maybe it's not very clear that this is a grievance, but maybe it's obvious it's a grievance against the government, the world, the current situation, COVID, But when I just sense what it is, I see that I am maintaining my upset. And this is the problem. So since I have now identified the problem, I can also choose the solution to the problem. And that is, I accept the atonement for myself. I choose a miracle instead. I have no use of this. This is not helpful for anyone. It has nothing to do with the situation out there. The situation out there was never the problem. And this is the point where we become really the saviors of the world, because we are undoing its foundation, and the foundation is suffering and separation and sickness. So maybe on the surface level, on the form level, when you choose a miracle now and you are, what's the word? I forget the English word. I'm determined. When you're determined to stay there for a moment and to let your mind be changed, you will see that your experience becomes less and less conflictual, and you walk with the certainty of you don't have to solve a problem, because the world isn't bad, the situation isn't bad, and the peace is walking already with you, that you have chosen first. You have to choose it first and in that moment you give it as well. It's a simultaneous action in the mind. So it comes down to this guy here. This guy needs to make a new choice. And this really does change everything. It does change everything.
Thank you, Andreas.
And was it your daughter? Did you say it is your daughter?
My daughter, yes.
And your daughter will be thankful for that, because you bring a certainty that is not of this world. And this is what she's actually asking for.
Makes sense. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bless you.
Terry, would you like to share?
Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Andreas. You've chosen a tough old subject this morning. You really have. Because on a human level, we all can relate to what Angela's just shared. We've all got stories like that, and John and stuff within our family. And in my experience, it's more difficult with our loved ones, our family members, people who we've known all our lives. And we've got this past with, to be that, to step back that little bit more. I'm not saying it's impossible or anything, but in my experience, emotionally, we can get sucked in more with our loved ones than maybe people who we might kind of work with as healers in other ways. But one thing that's helped me over the years, about 25 years ago, I had a teacher, and she told me that the best thing that you can be is to be like a lighthouse that shines its light upon the cliff top, to prevent the ships getting shipwrecked. It's not to come out of the lighthouse and go down to the rocks where people are drowning, because you risk drowning yourself then. So it's to be that light, to be steadfast, to do my work, which is my daily meditation, my course lessons, all the rest of it. Whatever our spiritual practice is, we must do that to align with the light and be steadfast to that practice and be disciplined. And then we can be the clear channels and the light to shine into the world. And remember always to be humble and allow, like, you've said there, he is here, he is with me. I allow myself to be used as that channel. So when I am asked, the right words will come through me. The right action will come through me, because I am in that place. If I lose myself in ego and all the rest of it, and I get sucked in, then I won't be as effective, nowhere near. I'll be contributing to the problem again. But there is a danger that some people, in my experience, swing too far into dispassion. And we must remember compassion always for ourselves and for other people in distress. So whilst, yeah, we can hold fast to the truth and we can be inspired by people who've had near-death experiences and all the rest of it, no matter how much in pain and in agony they were when they passed, and other people, their loved ones, none of that is true on the other side. They're in their magnificence again. But in the moment, when we can't ignore people's suffering. We can't lose sight of recognizing where people are at. Remember that it's not true, fair enough, but remember where they're at as well. Otherwise, I think we can become too detached. So there's a balance to be had, I think, Andreas. For a tough subject. Thanks, Andreas.
Thank you so much. Yeah. See, this is the practice, like I don't know what the balance really is. What is the balance between where is the other one? I don't know where the other one really is in the suffering, but I know that whenever I choose a miracle and I choose the change of mind, that the actions that follow from that, they are conflict free. Because they're not based on my own sorting out. And that makes, in my experience of myself, the entire difference. So, of course, we're conditioned to help, we're conditioned to understand, we're conditioned to, be the good guy or the helper. And all of the, for a time, it's good, for a time, it's like it's a necessary orientation ground. But the point of transformation comes where I see I did not understand a thing about this. And it's like a artificial floor, and we're asked to drop through that because there's a different answer that I can't think of. And no question at all, this moment is uncomfortable because the ego identification is strong. But when we do that step with that little willingness, there's actually gratitude. I don't know what brought me to this place, but I'm glad I am open for the instructions here of my inner teacher.
Dennis, do you want to share?
When I first read the course, there's a part in it that jumped out the page for me. Of myself, I can do nothing. And I thought, I wish I'd learned this at school a long time ago, because I tried to do something. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Vivian, do you want to share?
Oh, no, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Oh, no. Okay. Julie Rose, do you want to share?
Hello.
Hey, Julie.
Hi, Andreas. Yeah, what came up for me in the meditation was, like it says in the course, you'll know which voice you're listening to by how you feel. And so it's to listen, all the time. Am I listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit, or am I listening to the voice of the ego? And I see in my own experience that the ego would love there to be a drama in every moment. It wants drama, and it creates drama, and it sees drama until I hand it over. So for me, it's a constant practice, and I'm not saying it's easy, but yeah, it always comes back for me to which voice am I listening to, even when I or someone else apparently appears to be sick or having, what I've decided is a drama. That was it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is really the practice, how do I undo my drama? How how do I unlearn looking for the problem and the heat of the theater. And it really comes down to, you know, the lessons of A Course in Miracles. They contain the entire answer. You know, they're not unpractical. They are actually practical, and they bring the effects and the experiences with them. I don't need to add anything else. And you know, it's so simple, but it needs the application, as you said, Julie Rose. It's completely a daily practice and a new decision every day to, you know, to go with that and to see this as an important part of my existence here in time and space. You know, actually the only real reason why I'm here. So I'm so grateful for this clear guidance of A Course in Miracles.
Vivian, do you want to try again?
Can I try again?
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I did Andreas's thing with the little upturned V.
Oh, there you go.
So thank you for that. Enormous thank yous. I was just going to say I've been a massage therapist and things, and people have come to me with physical problems, but also in my life, you know, I've had people around me who are ill, and I find very useful just the simple statement, you are not a body. You are healed, complete and whole. You are as God created you. So I did that before any massage thing that I did. And if I go to somebody who is sick, that is what I say in my mind. You are not a body. You are healed, complete and whole. You are as God created you. And that has helped enormously.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Okay, we've come to the top of the meditation. Take yourself off of mute and show your appreciation to Andreas and to all your brothers who are here with you. Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andreas.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.